Today is, as we know, it is our last day in the FDP. Now I request Sir Deepak Mene, Senior Data Scientist, Data Consultancy Service, Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, to join us. He'll deliberate us on the topic data ethics. Briefly, I will talk about Sir. He was a scientific officer at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in his previous role. He has 17 plus years of experience as a data scientist as well as enterprise solution architect in data science, data management, governance, science and analytics, big data, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. Currently, Sir is working as senior data scientist, Commonwealth Bank Australia through TCS. Sir, I welcome you.
Yeah, so thanks. Okay, I'll just not take too much time. I'll just start my presentation. Okay, no problem. So today I will just talk about the more kind of data ethics and how we can apply the data science to the ethics kind of thing. So let me go for the first for the ethics. So let's go for the, can you see my slides? It's
Yes,
visible?
sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, no problems. So when I'm talking about ethics, basically ethics, basically what are the works you are doing? It should be the follow the some standards, principles, and what are the works you are doing? It should be create beneficial to the society. It will create a positive impact on the society also. Correct? That I'm talking about ethical. If you someone say I'm ethical person, so what you can say ethical person, he's loyal or he's loyal to his family, his society, he like to help to others. That I'm talking about the ethicals also. Similarly, when I'm talking about today, I'm talking about data ethics. Basically, what are data ethics? Is a set of principle because as you know that because I guess most of the people are from the educational and the other domains also. But here I'm talking about more kind of how we can handle the ethics from the industry point of view or machine learning point of view. I'm just talking about that. So data ethics basically what you can do this basically you can collect the data that particular when you talk on data ethics basically what is data ethics because when you're writing a research paper you have to collect some data. Once you collect that data you have to process that particular data, analysis that particular data, and how that particular output you're getting from that particular data, how much it is having the impact on the human lives and the society. That I want to say data ethics basically because ethics are very important for us also because what are things that I'm doing as a part of the ethic, it should be create impact on me, my kids, my family, as well as my society, my country, and whole universe. That I'm talking about. So simple definition of the data ethics. So what is the data ethics basically? So when I'm talking about data ethics basically, this is I'm just talking about the Venn diagram. So I'm just putting as what is legal and what is ethical. I'm just talking about this one and this is one thing. When you talk about the ethics basically, so what you're doing about the data basically as a research plan. So when you're writing your research paper, correct? So as a part of the research, what you think about, you first think about the what kind of problem statement do you have. After the problem statement, you can write abstract, what is your research plan is there. In the research plan, you will talk about the introduction, literature survey, your research methodology, then the results section, conclusion, and the features. That is, you're talking about normal research plan, the outline of the paper only. Then finally, you're collecting the all the data of the ethics basically through the different questionnaires. Some are free data sets available that you can do it. You are analyzing the data through manually or Excel sheet allows it. You can extract the results, and that you have to extract the result. You are publishing these results to the in terms of the research paper. You are following this all the steps. Each and every steps you have to follow the ethics. Ethics are very important because when you identify any problem statement, that problem statement is I know that is the research is wide, but when you identify the problem statement, that problem statement should be identified. It should be create the effect onto the participants also. That's very important about it because how much carry the impact on the society. That I'm talking about my problem statement hypothesis or questions basically. Second thing, when I'm doing any research plan about my research paper, that paper should be published into the top impact journals, into the like Scopus, Springer, or maybe Web Science or ESSI kind of thing. That is I'm creating impact also. As a part of the academia also, most of the people are cited by the lots of PhDs, because I know that some of the respective faculties are there. They're actually guiding the PhD students. There are lots of research papers. How these people are cited by the society of the research people, that is the main ethics behind should be is there while writing people. When you're also guiding the people also as a mentor of the PhD, always the PhD guide is having always a positive ethics. Okay, when I'm guiding my students will become the very good asset for my society, and as well as when he goes anywhere part of the world, he will tell that I am a student of the ex teacher. That you should be feel proud of. That kind of ethics you should be built as a part of the PhD students. So it is very important for that. What is the ethics I'm talking about this one? So when I'm talking about the ethics, so like is the because sometimes what's happen, you have to take the data, you have to take that how I can maintain the privacy of the data. That is, and protection is very important. What is the statistical bias should be applied about that? What is statistical bias I'm talking about that? How I can do the prediction kind of thing, or I can do the correlation between the data, correlation between data, that is statistical. When I got the data, what kind of black box decision means what kind of closed decision I should be take about that particular data, and how I can manage this data by the self only. Because once you got a data, you have to manage that particular data. You should be take care about that. That should be data should not be leak and should not be create any problems to the my colleagues also. That kind of ethics are there. So those are the something you have to make a decision about your data. This thing you have to do it. So let's I'm just talking about the one of the example of the data privacy. So let me go for the one of the slide. I just talk about this one. So in today's world, basically, these are the some of the ethics areas are there. When I'm talking about the human research ethics, animal research ethics, gene technology, other compliances, research exports controls, or maybe I'm talking about the radiation safety. Here all the ethics will be come into the picture solve, because when I'm talking about human research, correct, now the take the example like today's I guess today's all the worlds are facing the COVID-19 pandemic. Now there are lots of vaccination trial going on, correct. So as a part of the clinical trial, like this also, you have to hide the real name of the people while doing the trial vaccination also, otherwise it will create a problem for the others. I'm just giving the example for the last year also. Last year, there was one of the staff nurse was there. I guess it is happening in Mumbai, but I'm not sure. It's I just reading through newspaper. She was working for one of the topmost hospital in Mumbai, and suddenly she is actually working as a nurse for the all the COVID-19, and she basically from the remote area of the Maharashtra, and she was staying in the one of the society. Suddenly, what happened? She was working as a COVID-19 nurse in the hospital. Suddenly, all the societies, someone actually disclosed the name for that particular female. There's no ethics are there, because for that particular person, it is the society created started the problem. The people are getting started distance for her. The flat owner actually give the notice to vacate the house. Those are the problems are coming. So when I'm talking about any human research kind of the research you are doing ethics about the data, you have to follow all the ethics. You should be hide the privacy. You should be give the respect to the privacy, and you should be real the hide the near of this. That I'm talking about that. Similarly, when I'm talking about the ethics for the animal, also when you're doing the ethics for the animals also human being, they also got life also. So when you're doing the research also, you should give the respect to the monkey, chimpanzees, all those things you have to think about that. Parallelly, you think about the gene technology. That is again ethics will come to the picture. I don't want to talk about this is more sensitive kind of topics are there. Like I'm just giving the example like surrogate mothers, just because those people don't get a childs, so they are actually going that surrogate mother concept is come to the picture. So so those are the privacy are coming to the picture. So these are the things I have to consider as a part of the research ethics. Uh, Now the today's worlds are going for the digital ethics only using by the computers. So we have to give the what is called as a digital ethics. So when you are using the all the data, so first you have to follow the some of the guidelines, like how I can treat this data basically. Like once you got a data, so that data is basically all the human data, how I can treat the data, and how I can hide the privacy of the data. Second things like uh, uh, what kind of unintended consequences are there if I use the new technology, or how I can block that particular on things that I'm talking about ethics. Third, I'm talking about how we can maintain the discipline and the self-restraints kind of things, technology as a part of technology, so that you have to follow this kind of guidelines as a part of the digital ethics. Data ethics are there, that is different. But when you use for the computers, there's the one concept is called as a digital ethics that I'm talking about. So when I'm talking about the ethics also, so you have to focus on the ethics in the two parts, like ethics of data, ethics of algorithm, and ethics of the practice. When I'm talking about the ethics of the data, how you can generate the data, how you can collect the data, how you can share the data, it's very important. That's I'm talking about the ethics. Because normally what's happened when you want to share the data with any persons also, you cannot use any kind of, so when you have to, that particular file is a password protected, it should be the zip and encrypted, or maybe cannot share through the WhatsApp, it should be through the email. Those kind of ethics you have to follow while sharing the data to the all the peoples. That I'm talking about the ethics. When you want to generate the data also, always you take the data from public data sets also. Take the data, treat data is very well, and you have to always say the thanks note to the that particular website you when you got the data. That I'm talking about this. Once you got the data, correct? As I told about it, you're writing the research paper. When you're writing the research paper, you have to write some methodologies or something. So here I'm just talking about that how you can use the machine learning or artificial intelligence or robots to interpret what is the meaning of that particular data. So what are the ethics are there while applying the algorithms? When I'm applying my algorithm, is it giving the correct output? Not. Now take the example of COVID-19 data. People are using the mobile technology, artificial intelligence, or maybe they are using machine learning because they got some X-rays of the uh, your these things, and they can say how much code is got affected. What is technology? It's artificial intelligence technology we are using. So what? So we can use the accuracy and all that. I'm talking about the algorithms. When I'm talking about the ethics of algorithms, how we can use the methodology. Finally, when you follow the ethics, so you should be become responsible, and you have to follow the guidelines of the practices of ethics in the innovation also, and as well as you have to follow the professional guidelines while working with the emerging field. So these are the area you have to focus on the ethics in the three areas: data, algorithms, and practice. It's very important how we can follow the ethics. uh, One thing I'm just talking about data is never neutral, and all the data is there is considered as a raw data only. What are the data you are getting? It's containing noise data. Basically, I'm talking about it's containing some unwanted characters or unwanted meanings of things. And if the more problems are the data, that meaning of data can be changed also, that you can say that what the data is there. Data is never smart. You have to use the tools and technology so that data become more smart and you can extract the information from the data. That I'm talking about ethics. So when you want to use any technology also, you have to follow the ethics. Ethics is very important each and every phase of the your all the research work. Three things you have to consider as a part of the data ethics only. Once you have to mention the information security. Second one, you have to maintain the privacy. Third things, you have to follow the data governance. What is data governance? Who is the ownership of the data? Who is using the data? How the data used by the other third party? You have to keep a track of your data, because if you're giving some data and that data is used by the some unwanted, say I can say illegal entities like terrorism or all those things, that will be create problem for you also. When you're giving the data also, you have to keep always track how my data is tracked to the across the all world. That I'm talking about data governance. Information security is very important. When you're giving the data, don't put the real names. You can jumbling your names, address, age, and all those things. That you can put the security. Of course, you have to maintain the privacy when you're sharing the data out to the anyone. You should not be disclose the name of the people who is using your data. That should be maintained by data ownership. That you have to maintain the privacy. These are the three things you have to implement. Things considered as a part of the data ethics. So these are the some of the data problems I'm just talking about that. Recently, I guess there was a one you're getting some news about that, like a big basket actually. There are 2 million, 20 million customer data got leakage. There is another customer just talking about that. I just forgot it. So there is a data is available on the sale on the market data sets. So these are the majority of the data breaches are there because currently I guess most of the people are using the Facebook accounts or this thing account. So you should be very careful about that. When you're using data, you have to follow the ethics also. When you're making the friends on the Facebook also, you can see the history and just check that how many mutual friends are there, some things are there. You can take that based on that. You can follow the this thing. Every ethics is there. Second, I'm just talking about the Facebook study. This I'm just giving talking about the one of the example. How many people are following the positive ethics using the Facebook in the positive way and the negative way. So these are the some of the experiment we are consider that as a part of this. So these are the some of the examples are there. I'm just talking about this. So let's go for the this one. So when I'm talking about ethics, so let me show to something to you. So as a part of the ethics, so when I'm actually as a part of the working with the industry, we are actually doing some experiment also. So we are doing some experiment also. So what kind of experiment you are doing? So we are collecting the all the data and let's see that like now you know that when the peoples are doing any post to the feedback or posting their post actually correct. So what is the ethics behind that? So we collected around 7 lakhs students are there in 2012, and we are just making the classifications that what is the positive ethics behind and what is the negative ethics behind. So we just done the analysis about that, and we found that uh, there are more peoples are there which is actually do the negatively reduce their controlled. They are not posting on the negatively controlled way, and some of the peoples are there they can use experimental. But is what I'm talking experimental. Basically, they can use the chatbots kind of thing, and they are actually giving the spending the wide negative message about the any particular incident that account negatively that can be reduced also. Parallelly, we are talking about how many positively got reduced. So control means I'm talking about that how the peoples are there. So when I'm talking experimental, what the data is there, we are taking a subset of data, we are just changing that, and how thus we are taking about that. So how these ethics peoples are following the ethics while posting the something on the Facebook, either is a positive or negative way. We are just doing the all the calculations. Based on the calculations, we are doing the all this. So this is I'm just talking about the some of the things. Let's so 1 minute. Sorry. So I'm just talking about the some of the example. I'm just talking about the data protection, all those things. So like in year 2014, New York actually they actually give the data. They release the data about the 173 million data about the taxi trips. With the taxi, their number plates are identified. So what was happening about that? They released all the data, but using that particular data, they found that most of the celebrities they're actually using the New York taxi, they're going from one place to another place, how they are going. So they get the information about their all the personal life using this particular data. That was a created lots of problem for the celebrities, and they started the filing the complaint to the government. Then government decided that how I can maintain the privacy and the data protection while releasing data to the public community. It's very important. That is one of the problems are created as a part of the ethics that data protection is very important for us. Second, I'm just talking about again you have to follow the ethics. I'm just talking about most of the people are posting their photos about their sons, kids, and their celebration. You're going somewhere, but happy you're share this information. But there are some people, they can be misuse the information and they'll try to create some problem for you. I'm just giving the recent example. I just came across that. So this is one of my friend is there. So like he like to he kept his password as a very low manner, and his account is got hacked. And he's saying that कुछ amount चाहिए कल तक के लिए urgent. So I just thought that his never my friends are there. Then I asked about that. I don't have the money, and he recently blocked that. And it is my ethics. I inform to my friends, other friends are who is my mutual friends. I inform him that your account is got hacked, and that is my ethics coming into my picture. So this is account is got hacked because he's actually saying that how many people are in his friend is trying to send the message asking about the but at least he got two friends. Okay, they paying 20,000. That job is done. But how much that problem will created by Jayesh Damania, who is my friend, is there. So you have to follow the some kind of ethics. That I'm talking about the when you're doing the using the Facebook also, you have to follow the data ethics, very important. Parallelly, you're going out of India, posting the but that particular data used by the our agency also, they can ask the questions also, you may be created. It is happy, you can take a pictures and photo, but don't share your personal information onto the Facebook and all those things. What you'll get the like, congratulations, must have something like this. So I'm requesting when you want to follow the ethics about data ethics, you should not be post any kind of personal photos and everything on the Facebook because otherwise it will create a lots of problem for you also. That is the one type of ethics you have to follow as a part of the this one. Let me go for this one. Okay, so when I'm talking about the ethics, so as I'm talking about the data science basically, so I just following these principles. When I'm talking about dialectic, reflective, creative, and the all encompass. So basically, dialectics basically. Mm, so when you're writing your research papers, correct? Now, and this is I'm more talking about my project oriented, but I'm just trying to explain in terms of the academic kind of thing only. What is dialectic basically? So you have to follow the process. That process basically between your data and the what is the critical social your colleagues are there, and you have to follow the complete life cycle while writing the research paper or maybe guiding the students also. That I'm talking about dialectic. Second things I'm talking about the reflective, uh, every person has some concerns about their work also concern. So what are the ethics are there? It's not a free fix basically. That can be concern can be about by at the any time of your projects also. What you can do this, you have to follow the you have to start always discussion with your colleague or co-author and try to resolve that, and you should be always follow the reflexivity as a part of the as you needed also. Third things I'm just talking about the all encompassing anything about the research activity you're doing, that anything about output, you should be follow the ethics and you should be follow the expand your all the results in the each and every stages of your all the research paper. That is very important. Third and fourth thing I'm talking about the creative, of course. What are the works you're doing in the educational field, it must be creative, and it should be addressing the all the ethical life cycle, all the ethical life cycle of the research project. So these are the four principles you have to follow as a part of the data science in your project. So these are the things you have to follow, or like yeah. So let me show to something. So yeah. So when I'm talking about the ethics, so you have to follow the another. I'm talking about the data identifiability. So what is the individual identification, data identification, non-identification that you have to follow. What is the confidentialization? That is also very important as a part of a data ethics. Also, it's very important because which data you want to share. So what data is very sensitive, that you have to identify which data that I'm talking confidential. Third, I'm talking about the informed consents. It's very important because when you want to sign any documents, when you want to do anything, so you have to go for the informed consummation document. You can see the what are terms and conditions, how you are collecting data. When you're collecting the after completing expanded data, how you can disturb that particular data, where storing data, all those things you have to consider as an informed consent. It's very important for this project because data is very important. These are the some of the examples I'm talking about that. Like when you got this particular data, do you want to use the data for the one particular research purpose, or you want to use for the data for the other research purpose also? If you want to use for the research data, how we can store the data, how we can store data in the safe vault, maybe Google Drive, or maybe you have to follow. Those are the things you have to follow. And if you want to share this information, you have to prepare some of the set of questionnaires. I am sharing this data because of your responsibility. Any problem that happen, you are the responsible person. You have to make an agreement. You have to sign that agreement. It's very important in today's world. Otherwise, it will create lots of problem you as a part of the legal. It's very important. Then I'm talking about the like when you're writing the research papers also, don't share your results to the anyone right while writing the research paper also. Think about that when you're writing the research paper also, what is the based on the data, can I write the continuation of the next paper that I'm for future data publications. Third things, when you want to give the access to the data to the your co-author or something, so you have to put some condition while accessing the data. It's very again very important. Fourth, I'm talking about that when any user is using that particular data, who is using that particular data, how you have to make the documentation about that, how is using that, did he share this data to anyone, you have to ask about, because it's very important that you have to maintain the documentation. Otherwise, if something has happened with your data, so maybe any agency it will come to it because you are the ownership of the data, and you if you don't have the documentation, it will be difficult to track that who are the person you share the data, how he is using that. Basically, if you want to share any data, you have to maintain all the documents as a part of this. Uh, so these are the some of the guidelines you have to follow. So like I'm just talking about the conditional access, ownership, licensing of the data, repositories, how to maintain the confidentiality of the data, and how to follow the ethics. So these are the things you have to follow as a part of the data ethics. Now the next three slides, I'll just talk about that. There are some kind of agencies are there which is giving the guidelines of the data also. So here I'm just talking about IEEE, ACM, and the Accenture guidelines. So just focusing on that guidelines codes. So when I'm talking about the ethics for that particular data as a part of the security, so first thing actually, what is the data is there? It should not be minimized, hacked. It should not be perform an attack also. Second thing, you have to establish the security default also. You have to provide the least privilege to the different users. When you want to store this data, how I can put a defense wall against that particular my data. Then you can check the security of that particular data on the reverse basis also, because you share the data, say 12 users, and that particular data you share the 1 year back, and you forgot to remove the access. You just check that particular access remove or not. That I'm talking about that. Fifth, I'm talking about data. If anyone actually requests your data, maybe your friend is there and your friend actually share your number and is actually asking for access for data without verification of that particular data, sending that particular data, you can ask for some information and some questionnaires based on data. You can have to build some kind of trust services, very important. Then I'm talking about the any thing about the access and everything. If you found there's a security breaches of your data, you try to fix that. I'm talking about the security principle as a part of the data ethics. Then when I'm talking about the data as a IEEE format for the CS or this one for the professional practice, first thing I'm talking about, what is the data is there. You have to make the classification of the data into the three types, either is a public or private or the confidential or internal, that you have to make the data. Second things once you want to see the data also, like how you can establish the contract between the client and the employer is very important. Third, I'm talking about the how the products related data, how we can use it by this one, judgment, management, profession, colleagues, and the self. These are the codes you have to follow as a part of the data ethics. It's very important because when you want to give this particular data for them, you have to judge that particular respective person. He's the right person or not. How I can build a trust on this? You have to make that particular judgment also. Once you give this particular data to the access to that particular data also, how we can manage that particular data by you, it's very important. That I'm talking about data ethics is very important. You should be must be the professional, because while giving data also, because you are putting the lots of effort to generate data, anyone who want to use the data at the free of cost or maybe a different ways, you have to ask what is the purpose of data, how we want to use it, and you can get something written through the email. In the future, something problem is created by that particular X person, you can show as I just signed the contract. You will put in the saving contract, because those are the things we will follow as a part of. Because currently I'm working with banks also. Bank data is very confidential, highly confidential. We are signing the all the NDAs and all the security agreements. We have to go to lots of training purpose, because we have to follow the ethics about data in the working for the software industry, because we are getting the all the customer data. That I'm follow the ethics. Of course, when in front of data ethics, it should be start from your mind, it should be start from your heart, it should be start from your this thing, how I can become the data ethics. When you become the data ethics professional, others will be follows your ways. So always you try to become the data ethics for yourself only. The other people will be follow your ways only. So you should be become a, I can say, just like as once you go for the sea is there, you know that there is one light tower is there, which is actually set up on the bay of the sea, and it is actually showing light, and it is showing the west to the all the ships. We have to play those kind of role as a part of data ethics in the education, in the all the fields. Yes, now I'm just talking about the how I can become ACM code of ethics. So when you want to become the ACM code member, so like how you can contribute to the society and how you can become the good human being. That I'm talking about data ethics. I should not be create any harms to the society also. Be honest. If you miss any point, if you misuse the data, you can directly call the data owners. I did this mistake. You can agree your mistakes, and it should be. You should be fair, and other things also. When you want to use the data, you should be give the respect the data ownership of that particular data owner, including copyrights and as well as patents also. Parallelly, when you are doing any work about using your data owner also, you have to give the credit as a part of the research. You should receive the thanks also. You have to maintain the privacy, and you have to give the respect to the privacy to the others also. And finally, you have to maintain the confidentiality and the privacy. It's very important. These are the ethics you have to follow as a part of the professional, as a part of the people. That is ACM code ethics. This is I'm just talking about the developing the data ethics code as a part of the um, professional and software industry. First thing, we have to give the respect to the person who is the creator of that particular data. That I'm talking about the first one. I have to do that. Second, and I'm talking about that you have to attend the session which is conducted by the data owner, how the data used by the downstream means basically what the consumers are there, how to use that you can use it. Third things, you have to understand that how this particular data used by the analytical tool, basically like analytic data science tool, how you can use it. Fourth things, you have to maintain the privacy and the safety guidelines while using that particular data also. And fourth thing, of course, you have to follow the law, because if you want to go to any law, if you go to US, you have to follow the GDPR laws. India, they're actually following some different laws are there. You have to follow all the laws. Parallelly, you have to follow the inclusion and exclusion principles, like what data I should be considered, what data I should be excluded. Those kind of principles you have to follow as a part of the data ethics course. So many things are there. So I just want to stop about this one, and this is I'm talking about the privacy. So lots of things are there. It's very new topics are there. So yeah. So, so this is one of the slide I'm just talking about that. If anyone person want to do the ethics, so these are the some of the labs are there, like Center for Digital Ethics and the Policy. There is a Loyola University is there, which is basically perform the all the ethics related for the data science work. There's University of the Oxford is there, which is actually doing the ethics with the data science. Georgetown University ethics lab. If anyone person want to do the course also, they can go for the ethics lab. They can go for data ethics course also. These are the some of the universities and the courses are the people just go and they can start the learning the data ethics with respect to the this one. Any thoughts are needed, you can go for the these are the resources are there, you can just use it. So finally, in the simple words, I just give the conclusion that data ethics is very important, which should be followed by the not for the all the human beings. That is the overall present end of my presentation my side. If anyone have a questions, we can have a discussion around that.
Thank you so much, Deepak sir, for such an excellent presentation. We have one question. It's by Sabia Mufti. She's asking that with co-authors, they are party to that work. So how come we can conceal our data with them? Please suggest.
So sorry, your question is not clear. Can you repeat, madam, again?
That with co-authors, like when we are writing some work, so we have co-authors, and when we are party to that work,
Hmm.
how come that we can conceal our data with them? So can you suggest some means of concealing the data?
Okay, so basically, see, when you want to use that particular data for your co-authors, correct? So there are two types of co-authors are there. Suppose as a part of the PhD students and your guide also, suppose because your guide is there, that is the primary author, and your PhD guide is the secondary, that is become as a co-author only. So how the if the two persons are there, it is very easy to monitor all the data. If you are doing any collaboration work also with any universities or any professors also, even also if it is close friend also, you just sign the mutual agreement how to use that particular data. And you can what you can do this, you can use the any software which you are using that, and you can just check that how you're using data, and you can just go have a demo for once in a week or twice in a week, what kind of result is publishing about that, how is using data. You can have a discussion with them also, and you can track that particular data as a part of the co-author.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Scientist Deepak Manisa. It was really wonderful hearing you. What an insightful presentation you had given us on the basis of
Excuse
the
me, ma'am,
data.
may I?
Yes, just a minute,
Ma'am, I'm
Sabina.
Sabia.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Sabir.
Ma'am, can I ask a question to the sir, please, ma'am?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
whatever sir said, it's not clear to me.
Okay. You
Can I,
can
ma'am?
continue. Yeah, you
Yes,
can
yes, carry
continue.
on.
Okay. Sir, basically, my question is that while we are doing any research, let it be whether it's a PhD research or we are writing an article for a journal, so we are co-authoring it with other members, other colleagues. So they are equally party to that work. So it's not possible for us to conceal the data for them. Like, for example, I'm working on 3 projects right now,
Mhm.
so my scholars are party to that. We have a collaborative work with one of the associate professor from Pakistan, one from Iran. So we are working it jointly. So how could we conceal the data? Is it possible?
See, you can consider data. That's I'm just talking about that. See, you're working
But
with a
but the
collaborate.
but the motive is that so we can't conceal the data because we are working on the same project. We are
I
See,
working
don't
on the
think there
same
is any
project.
need to
Our
conceal.
dimensions are same. Our objectives are same.
So
see,
you are a
yeah.
partnership, na? There is
Yeah,
no
so
need
So
to
we
what's
are
the
doing
conceal.
it
meaning of
in
concealing?
partnership. It's not possible to conceal the
So
data.
sir is
So I
not
will tell you.
telling to conceal it from the partnership, basically.
No,
Ma'am,
There is no
that's what
need
sir
for that.
said
Yeah.
during the presentation. That's why.
no, I will tell you. No, no, I will tell you about that. See, you are working with the collaborators also. That is fine also. So the only one thing about that, when you find the see as a part of the ethics also, you have to make a mutual. I'm not saying that agreement basically like these are the data. You should be data used in the ethical way. If you just done the mutual agreement through email, that I'm talking about ethical way only. Because you don't know, because you are sharing data. Your collaborator is sitting in the Pakistan, the Iran. What exactly is doing the data? Because you are doing the collaborative projects. Also. I completely understand that, but what exactly he is doing, that you have to keep track also. You have to share the weekly reports also. It's very important as a part of it, because as a part of the industry also, when you get, because I'm working on the data also, correct? Once I got the data, I have to share this report of the data to my manager also. I got this data, I got this access. It is very important that you have to build the trust, because your collaborators in Iran and the Pakistan, and you are there. You have to build the trust, and you have to tell them that this is the data is there. You have to follow the ethics practice, because That is the way you have to build the
Definitely,
good
sir.
body.
Definitely, sir. Right, sir. When we are in a collaboration, that means we have already built it a trust between among us, isn't it, sir? It's right, sir.
Trust is there. But tell me that, suppose I just give the one of the recent example, correct? So like I was one of my friend is there is working as a collaborator with the one for UK university. He shared the data. What was happened? He was doing the same kind of research with other collaborators. Both of collaborators they published a research paper on the same topic, and he came to know that after 3 months that okay, I am actually doing the collaborator with my UK professor, and that UK professor already doing the collaboration the other university professor that I don't know, and they published the paper about that. And after I'm just doing the all the literature, I came to know that my friends actually use my data, and they published the 2 papers in the international journals that you don't know. So how you can follow that? That trust is there. So instead of that, what is the I'm talking about that when you want to use any data, you have to just sign one agreement, because that is the you are putting the hard efforts and someone is actually using your
Sir,
data.
then that
And
if we are signing the agreement, then it's not ethical. Ethics
it's
means trust. Ethics means honesty. Because if
no,
we see the meaning of ethics, if we go into the details of ethics, there is a morality, there is a values. So we are just breaking
that is
all these. We
no,
are
no.
making it professional. We are making it professional, isn't it, sir?
See, that's what I'm talking about. So my talk is completely different than the academia to the professional. Here I'm talking about more professional way, because you have to bring the professional way into academic also. It's very important because today's worlds are changing also. You have to changing the traditional methodology to the industry methodology. You have to include that also. That can be added the more value for you also. See, trust is there, value is there, moral is there. I completely understand also. Even also, I'm following the same thing also. But when I become as a part of the working with any customer, any professor, you should be become as a professional. That can be create a more differentiated than the other professors, because I am also having the collaboration with the Malaysia, UK, US professors. I am also having good bonding. Everything is there. I'm working on the lots of collaborative projects also. So what I'm trying to say, I'm always saying though, all my collaborators, we are very good friends. I'm using your data, but what I can do, we can make one agreement with us also. That data is very important. We cannot use this data from the third party also. That is just only because something has happened, someone is misuse your data. So who is responsible for that? So it's very important that, because you know that if you take the example, correct, now as now you are getting one house is there at your place, and there is one relative is there, and you want to give this rent your house on the rent basis. Okay, he's very your close friend also, he's a relative also, you already have trust. So why you are making the rent agreement with them also as a part of the relative?
Sir, that's a different story. And this
No,
is
no,
a altogether different story. Sir,
no, no.
I'm myself a student of management. I'm teaching management. I'm teaching commerce. So quite obvious, I have the difference. I know the difference between rent deed and agreement of this. And I'm also the student of ethics. So I know the nitty-gritties. I know the all the dimensions, sir. Sir, that rent deed is altogether different, and doing an agreement with co-authors, that is altogether different. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
I hope, Sabia, you got what you want. Sir is absolutely right. Ethics have their own inner rules, but professionalism do have to play their own role in a way so that we can parallelly, bring together both the things. I have just one little query, sir, because when you were talking about so many, uh, multinational concerns like Accenture, and you're also working in TCS. In multinational, what we have heard, because we are not working into that, but we have heard that they are always target oriented. They give you a time period, and within that time frame, you have to give results. So what happens? There comes the scene of the deception in data. So deceptive data, what we say, because we always know data actually give result to artificial intelligence. This is what is your presentation. But what about that? How to check that or curb that deceptive data analysis? Because that always mislead governments as well as the people outside, even the multinational companies, and often the planning fails.
So can you give me some example of deceptive data basically?
Sometimes it happens, supposing in some companies they show that this is their profitable year. This is their profitable year. So they just show the deceptive profits. And in that case, and on the other hand, they are throwing out their employees. It had happened during the pandemic times also. So on the one hand, they were showing profits. On the other hand, they were showing no, they are unable to keep the employees, and they were throwing out the employees out of that. And we have seen so many international banks coming under that pressure, and the banks had literally scammed, or they were the failure. The international banks, they were the failures at that time. And I think all this planning had been due to the deceptive data.
I will tell you that. See, I'm just giving the one other example because, like, I just currently working with I was in Indonesia. I was working with one of the bank projects also. The company profit statements, everything's are in the profit table, everything they are showing about that. But what happening like that in the banks, that there are lots of groups are there. Now in one groups are there, I got 12 employees are there. But 12 employees, they are not doing the performance. Their salary is very high, but I am not getting the expectation as per their standards only. So already I give the 2-3 warning, 2-3 chance to the employee as a part of the employment improvement program also. If they're not making any changes only, so of course the management has to take a decision to throw out. So basically, as a part of the multinational companies, they actually continuously monitoring their employees also. They're actually giving the lots of various types of methodology to improve their trainings, their skill set. Even also they're actually how to train the data also. But if you're not doing any progress about that next 3 to 6 months, of course the company management had to take a decision to show the outside of the way, because we are working with the customer and they are getting some money also, and because that industry we are paying the higher compared to academia. If I investing too much and if I'm not getting the output and there is a lots of escalation from the customer, I have to make a decision about that. So there I'm not doing any kind of ethics. And second thing, what I'm talking about that recently, like when you're talking about the companies are profitable, they are showing the deceptive results. This is more kind of the mutual understanding happening between the government employees, CAs, whose auditors are there. They are showing the false positive results. So that's a different story is there. But as a part of data science, also we are identifying that something under scam has happened. We are actually identifying those particular scam. We are actually identifying these ethics, and we are actually doing as a part of the internal project work also, because we got the data. Because currently I'm just talking about the credit card fraud detections, anti-money laundering, those kind of fundings are there, where the fraud was happening. So we are doing those kind of works as a part of the data science. We knows that we found the one of the person who is actually doing the some kind of frauds are there. Even also he's my close friend also. It is my become ethics also. I have to show my company he's doing something. Is otherwise I will inform him that whatever things you are doing, it is wrong way also. You will get a catch, because any things you are doing, it should not be hidden. It should be catched by the today's technology. But when you catch that, how much you have to pay the price, because it will destroy you also as well as your family life, and you will spoil your whole career also. That's the only thing. That's about the ethics
Thank you,
only.
sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I got it.